So I ended up doing all of this off camera, but we finished drywalling the rest of the kitchen. So let me show you what it looks like. First off, what you see here is all the scraps that I have left. The kitchen itself took 5 pieces almost exactly. Basically 1, 2, 3 on this one, 4 and 5, and then with the little offcuts I was able to fill in that piece and that piece. And then a 6th sheet I used for this and patching some other holes in the other rooms. So realistically, this is the only real piece I have left. It's 2 foot by 4 foot. All of this is pretty much just scraps here. So we're going to get rid of all this and we're going to come back and start taping. Just give you a quick overview again of what everything looks like. All right, I'll be back. All right, so we're ready to tape, and I am going to be using mesh tape. This is self-stick. I have another roll over here, different color, but same stuff. And basically, we just stick it over the joint. Press it into place. And we will come back with a putty knife to embed it. Oh, that is perfect. That's not much left. Alright, so we'll take our putty knife and just really push it into that joint. Sometimes some of the glue will get on your putty knife. Just kind of pull it off if it does. And you're just trying to get like the wrinkles and bubbles out of this. I like this stuff better than the paper tape. It's more homeowner friendly. But I've also found, oh, this stuff doesn't have any stick to it left. That roll might be no good anymore. I could use it, but it's a real pain if it doesn't have the stickiness on it. Let me grab another roll. So actually I pulled out my second roll and it was about as sticky as this. I did try sticking it to the wall and I think it will stick. Just not nearly as well as that other stuff I was using. See if I can rip this with the knife. No, I can. Yeah, I guess this stuff will work. So we tape our joints to try to keep the cracks from coming through when you put the drywall compound over everything. Tape will apparently help keep that crack from developing or showing. So for our first round, I'm just going to focus on the horizontal joints, and we'll eventually come back and do the vertical joints. So I'm going to go mix up some joint compound now. I'll be back. Alright, so we are ready to mix up some joint compound, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So what I'm using is Drywall 90. This is a powdered mix. I am going to wear gloves because drywall joint compound, it's not harmful, but it dries out your skin. So I'm just going to do that for my own personal preference. I like storing the bags of this stuff in tiny cat buckets. It helps keep things dry. got a drill with a mixing paddle on it. And I like to use a scoop like this to get the joint compound out of the bag. And we're going to start by adding water to a bucket. And this is kind of just personal experience as to how much water and mix to combine. I will show you the consistency we want as we get stuff mixed in. Usually I put my feet on either side of the bucket and start on low. Thick. I'm debating if I want to make more than that. I don't think I will. I'm going to put it in there. Finally, what I do is I have a curved scoop. I actually had to modify this one because it's designed for 5-gallon buckets, and I like to use this little bucket. But I use that to pick it up and put it in a little drywall spreader. This will be a messy process. If you're trying to keep things clean. So, again, just like the gloves. I'm going to try to get as much as we can out of the bucket. Stuff will start to harden up and make things more difficult to clean. So let me grab my knife. Yep. So this is the consistency. This is actually a little on the loose side, but it's nice for a first coat. And my knife, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it does have a very slight curve in it. You kind of just bend the knife to do that, and that will help kind of push the joint compound in. So what I'm going to do, take some, and what I like to do is kind of do a pass up and down like that. And then I will come and smooth it out. this first coat, we're not really too concerned about making it look nice, but we're just trying to put a thin coat on to kind of like help fill in the joint and really get everything pressed in to that joint. And we're trying to cover the tape as well. But we don't want us to leave any excess on the top or bottom. You can see we're filling in that indentation between the two pieces. Actually, I don't know if you can see that because the camera's pointing kind of down still. I think you can still see it. I'm a bad camera person. I'm sorry. We're just going to make sure there's no excess on the top or bottom. And then we're just going to keep doing this all the way around the room. eventually we'll come back with a wider trowel that will put even more on and spread it out even further. Our goal for this round is to kind of work the joint compound into that little joint and kind of add a layer on top to cover the tape. Another tip I can give is a lot of people will use the ready mix joint compound for this, but I don't like it because I found that it cracks easier. This stuff where you mix it up, it hardens a lot harder and it seems more resistant to cracking over time. And again, some people will say use this as the base coat and then use the premix as a finish coat. But again, for me, what I found works best for me is just use this for everything. Another tip I can give you is the Durabond 90 that I'm using. The 90 stands for 90 minutes of working time. So basically that means from the time you mix it until it starts to set up, it'll be about 90 minutes. They do make shorter duration versions. I think there's a 45-minute version and a 30-minute version if I recall correctly. And again, for a larger job, the longer working time is better. But if you're doing a smaller job, then and you want to have it set up faster and so you can finish your project faster, and some of the shorter duration time versions might be better for your situation. seems I made pretty much a perfect amount for this one wall. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all this up, because if I just mix another batch, this batch will start to dry up and it will not allow me to have as nice a smooth finish. So I'm going to pause the video, start cleaning this up, we'll make another batch. Alright, we got another batch mixed up, and we're going to do the other wall over here. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. There you go. And off we go. You can already see some of the wall here is starting to dry where it was thin. And another thing I forgot to mention about when you mix up this joint compound is you need to make sure it's stirred very well. You don't want any lumps in it or dry spots. Because if you have dry spots, it will not go on smoothly. And that's not what you want. Affect your finish. And for the base coat here, hopefully it won't matter, but it's good practice for when you're doing the final coats. for a first coat on those joints. So now I'm going to go get a smaller putty knife. Kind of debating on which one I wanted best, but I'll use this one. And we're going to start filling in nail holes. Basically what I like to do is put some on the knife, work it in a few times. Doesn't really matter if you get them perfect the first time around because the compound will shrink, and you're going to need to do it at least a second time. Those screws weren't as deep as I liked for my, weren't deep enough for my liking for the filling them in. I just got a screwdriver and cranked them down a few turns. Basically, by going over it several times, I'm trying to push any air pockets out and make sure that whole head gets filled with joint compound. So I'm actually not even going to bother with the nail holes down in this area because these are all going to get covered with cabinets. because this is going slower, what I'm finding is some of the joint compound is starting to set up a little bit. So what I like to do is kind of just scrape it off and stick it over up in the corner where it's not bothering me, so I can keep working. See, is that all of them other than the ones at the top? I'm also not worried about the ones along the floor because those will be covered by baseboard. This looks like it's just about all the ones down low. Sure, all these ones back behind the door here will get covered by trim, but I'll fill them in just in case. not getting so far as I'd like, or screw I should say. Alright, well, I'm doing some of these. How we're doing. I think I got all the nails covered when I need to. I suppose I can do some of these now. See, all this is stuff that's gotten hardened. I'm going to flick it off in the trash can. Pull in some more of the fresh stuff. If you're wondering what all this is about, it's because when I put this piece of drywall up, the box was crooked and pointing way out. So I ended up taking the piece back off and I put a piece of 2x4 back there and screwed the box into it. So that keeps the box flush with the wall, and also there's going to be an outlet here. So when people pull on the outlet, it's not going to make the box flop all around. screws down here are holding the 2x4s that are holding the vent in place. Just going to quickly patch some screw holes on the other side of the wall here. Basically what those screws were is the 2x4 that was right here was not actually attached on the other side to the drywall, so I put some drywall screws in over there. So now lastly, I got a bit of compound left. I'm going to fill in these big wide gaps on the side of this box here and the one up in the ceiling. This is by no means ideal, but it's just when you're doing remodeling, sometimes you can't really avoid it. I mean, I could have tried to keep a little sliver of drywall here, but the joint compound will actually be way, way harder than the piece of drywall would have been. I did stick a piece of paper tape in there, just so this joint compound doesn't adhere to the box, because I found that if it adheres to the box and you wiggle the box any, then it will cause this to break out. And I don't want that. Again, this doesn't need to be perfect because it will shrink when it dries. None of this first coat of what I've been doing here today is needs to be really smooth. Again, you just want to smooth out whatever is going to be a surface finish, because you want to be able to tape up to, or put the joint compound up to it. But anything we've done here is just going to shrink, and you need another layer anyway. So spin you around for this other box I need to patch the side of. This one up here, I actually did try to leave a little chunk of drywall in there, but it broke out when I was trying to get the drywall piece up there. So again, we're just gonna fill it in with joint compound. No one will ever see it or know the difference when it's done. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna let this dry for a day or so, and we'll come back and put another coat on. But for now, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone.